y'all, what is up? Welcome back. Today is Friday, April 24th, and I am back in my winter gear because it snowed today. Living in Canada is really hard. It snowed today. I'm not a fan. So, I'm in my winter gear. I'm out in my very poorly lit garage. But I have something to show you. I'm very excited. Okay, I'm gonna put the camera down so I can show you. So, a huge part of this bus build, I was gonna try to get a lot of the things used or secondhand from Facebook Marketplace, from side of the road. I still want to do a lot of like my woodworking stuff with pallet wood, like the ceiling and the walls and the other things. But I looked, and actually I started looking for these stock tanks before I bought the bus. Like, I've been looking for a year for a stock tank, and I couldn't find one. I couldn't even find a big one. We kind of want to do like one of those like stock tank pools in our backyard. Couldn't find a big one either. So bought this one. Actually, Home Hardware had to order it in for me. So I don't know if they're just like not a thing here or what, but I've been looking for one for a little over a year and I couldn't find one. So I went to Home Hardware and I was like, hey, I want one of these. Can you order me one? They ordered me one. So here it is. Right there. So, the only thing is, my assumption is they're not popular, one, because they don't have them in stores, but two, because this thing is coated in dirt and dust. So I'm gonna clean it up because it is 5 o'clock and there's no point in me driving down to the bus. The bus is not at my house. It's at the garage about half an hour away. There's no point in me going down to the bus today because I won't get enough done for it to be worth it. My husband's already on his way home. So we are outside. It's freezing. It's like 3 degrees, 4 degrees. Definitely doesn't feel like 4 degrees. It's really cold, but I have some hot soapy water. I'm not going in with spray. I learned my lesson, everybody. And I'm just gonna clean it up. Yeah, that's it. All right, so I'm realizing that I didn't give you a before shot, but here's the after shot. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This was completely brown, so better. Here's the water. I don't know if that's as satisfactory as a before and after, but it looks much, much better. And I think I'll paint it eventually, but I don't know. But there's my tub. Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome back to episode 5. Today, the bus is dry for the most part. We have a couple windows that won't shut, so there was a little bit of rain, and there's like a little water trail. I'll show you that later. So today, goals. I have a couple, Glenn has a couple. My goals include getting all of the screws that were left when we ripped the floor up out. I'm going to try to drill as many as I can, and then the ones that I can't drill for whatever reason, I will cut them off with the grinder. We've just tried a couple. The drilling works. I've got a pick to pick out the gross stuff, which is gross. And then depending on how far I get with that, then I would like to take my wire wheel and try to get some of this surface rust cleaned up, and then maybe paint at the end of the day. That's a lot of things. I usually give myself a lot of things, and we've talked about this before. I get bored. So that's the inside, and then the outside again, if something is causing me strife, which it often does, I'll go out and I'll do some more with the heat gun and the reflective tape. I brought a scraper today instead of like that like plastic scraper that I have that won't stay in. I need to actually go to camp and return that because it's broken. It won't stay. So 4 missions for me. Glenn is going to get underneath with our brand new pressure washer that we bought a few months back when it was on sale. He's going to try to get some of the dirt off and then maybe work on the heater that we couldn't get up last weekend because the hose is like, there's like this much slack on the hose. So hose needs to be rerouted so the antifreeze just goes back wherever it goes. And we take the heater out and then we can take the rest of the floor out because there's still a square of floor. Okay. So lots of things to do today. I'm just going to start because we already know that it works. So I'm going to start. I'm going to set you up on a little time lapse. And this is going to kick off episode number 5. I'm going to put on some Olivia Dean and just go. Speaking of empty bus, acoustics, excellent. Really, really good. But let's go. So you can probably hear Glenn power washing underneath of the bus. My fear was realized it is coming up through the holes, obviously. We kind of thought maybe they'd be small enough, but they're not. And I desperately need a pair of pliers because some of them are stuck and I just can't get them out with my bare fingers. So I'm gonna go find a pair of pliers. Pliers. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Couldn't do that with my bare hands. Good. So you can see, I probably should pause my music so I don't get copyright. Okay, you can see right here that the screws are very impacted with gunk. So I am just kind of going through with my little picky. Horrible camera woman. Anyways, going through with my little picky, getting the gunk out so that I can just drill them out instead of having to break out the grinder and cut them. So today I took lots of precautions, one of them being my knee pads. I was wondering why my knees were hurting. Why were my knees all bruised? It's because I've been leaning on my knees without any padding. So brought my knee pads. These are my knee pads that I use for the garden, but they really, really helped this day. I also tried to like switch my posture quite a bit, which also helped. You can see here I was trying to catch when the water was coming through because Glenn was pressure washing underneath the bus. So at certain points it was like squirting upward like a fountain, but sometimes it would just kind of trickle in. You can see there. But yeah, it was much less dramatic when he was just using the regular hose. But we bought one of those ones that's on wheels and it's made to go underneath cars. That one was actually shooting up like a fountain completely. So as I was doing this, I kind of thought to myself, it feels kind of like I'm wasting my time by picking the gunk out of these screws and trying to drill them out, trying not to strip them and actually just screw them out. But I just kept reminding myself, like, I really want to see what I can reuse. Like, even the rusty screws, even the broken rusty screws can be used for a stain. I saw a TikTok. Well, not a TikTok because I get my TikToks from Instagram like an adult, but I saw a reel and it was this guy and he had put all of his screws in some sort of solution and it made like this really nice stain for his wood. So I really want to see like what I can salvage off of this bus and reuse. I was also thinking as I was doing this that I should like batch my tasks. Like I should go around and get all of the gunk out of all of the screws and only use the pick and then switch over to the drill and only drill them out. But I found I was forgetting where I was stopping if I had to stop. So I just tried to work by section. You can see the bus is like split up by ribs. So I tried to work just in sections, and that way if I had to go do something, I wouldn't forget where I stopped and miss screws. But yeah, I spent the whole morning doing this while Glenn was pressure washing. And this is the first thing on the bus that I've done that I felt confident with. I'll mention later that I feel more confident with a drill, but I don't know why. I do know why. My father is a carpenter, and I have been helping him find tools since I was like 6 years old. Like, he would send me to his toolbox for tools. And even at one point, I had to change the drill bit, and I had a new type of screws. They were Phillips head instead of square. And the first bit that I picked out of our toolbox was correct. And I kind of looked at the camera and I was like, still got it. Because I feel more comfortable with a drill. I feel more comfortable working with wood. And Glenn and I have talked about this because, like, he thrives with metal and welding and cars. But me, I'd rather be working on wood, hanging pictures, painting walls, patching walls. Like, I'd rather be doing that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that I tend to thrive with. None of this angle grinder shit. The angle grinder scares me. But anyways, I just kept working at these screws. There was some of them that were so rusted that the heads actually just came right off. Or they were already broken before I even got there. So I just ended up having to grind those down because there was nowhere for me to put the drill to try to drill them out. So I just kind of left them. And it was mostly around the edges of the bus, which makes sense because bus windows tend to leak. They're not really built to not leak. They don't do any sort of waterproofing. So obviously those screws are more rusted. Most of the gunk that was coming out of these screws was just like dirt and rust and, like just grime basically. But some of the gunk that would come out of it would be like sticky, and that was like the first one that we pulled out. It was like sticky. And I was kind of like, oh, what is that? And Glenn had said, well, it's probably silicone or chewing gum, either one. And that like grossed me right out. But some of these screws were like still quite wet, so that's why you see me with a paper towel, because along the edges, like all of the stuff on the inside was wet. So I was kind of like wiping off the pick and the screw at the same time, because if it was wet, it was like sticking to the pick. So I was like taking it out of the screw and then basically putting it right back in the screw if I put the pick back in. And there is my back stretch. It was at this point in the day that my back started really, really hurting. My chiropractor has since told me that I need to strengthen my core because it's hurting my back to be not bracing my core, basically. So I have definitely added some core exercises to the morning workout ritual. I also need to do some leg strengthening because the up and down, whew. Hello, midway check-in. It is. I always get the camera in my hand and then check the time. It's 12:53, so it's almost 1 o'clock. We just breaked for lunch. We had our sandwiches. Glenn is done power washing the underneath of the bus. He said a lot of it was like cemented. A lot of the dirt was cemented to the bottom of the bus, and I mean, it's probably been there for a while, but he got a lot of it off, so hopefully that'll make it so not so much dirt's falling in his eyes when he's working underneath it. And then the other thing that he was going to work on today was the hole that they had to cut, or not, they didn't have to cut the hole in the floor. Let me rephrase. The hole in the floor that he thinks is probably from a spring. He'd like to weld a piece of wood. He'd like to weld a piece of metal in there. Wow. Good thing I don't have to do this in one take. I usually do this in one take, and then I edit out all of my little bit things, but and then he wants to work on the heater as well. So taking that out, getting that section of floor out, and then rerouting the coolant line. As for me, I've got all the screws that I can get out with the drill out. Much easier. I'm much more comfortable with the drill. I don't know why, but anyways, got all of the screws out with the drill that I could. A lot of the heads broke off. I was showing them to you. I think I got up to like 7 or 8. I don't know. Hopefully I would have kept a count on the screen for you because it was hilarious every time one broke. And then there was a bunch of them that they were so rusted that there was no head on them. And then I only stripped maybe 4 or 5 of them. So I'll cut those ones off. And then there are some, I think they're screws. I think they're quite rusted. I think they're screws. I think they were holding the floor down. I'll show you. They're like in the cab area where we're going to keep the rubber. But those are there as well. And then there's some of the big giant bolts left from the seats that are sticking up that we couldn't get out. So I think I'm just going to grind those flat as well. So I need the grinder with the cutting wheel. And if that doesn't work, then I'll just get the grinding wheel and I will grind them down until I'm floor level. And then I'm going to go in with the grinder again with a wire wheel brush. And I was watching a video by Chuck Cassidy, as one does. And he said to get the braided wire wheel. So I got a braided one. He was talking about how the regular wire wheels, the wires will come off. And he said something like, and they fly off and hit you in the arm or the leg or God forbid the eye. And I was like, immediately no, absolutely not. So got myself a braided wire wheel and it came in a kit. It was cheaper to get the kit. So there's a bunch of other things in there too. So we shall do that. And I feel like Glenn just got an oil pan. So maybe he's changing the oil. I don't know. Are you changing the oil? No. Okay. But anyways, yeah, those are our afternoon missions. We have a couple people who are going to come and visit, so you might see them. I'm very excited about that, but hopefully the next time I check in with my voice, I will be done wire wheeling. I don't know. I brought the paint with me just in case I get that far. So I brought a roller and a roller tray and the paint with me. We bought it already, so I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see. And today I'm gonna mask up. I learned my lesson from not putting a mask on. I have my mask. I cut the little edge out because my chin's too fat. But have my mask, have my things. I'm gonna put my gloves on because my fingers are a little sore from twisting screws out. I don't know if you can see. Anyways, let's go do the do. I'm gonna put my music back on too, so I'm just gonna speed you up so I don't get copyrighted. Clean up, everybody do your share. Clean up, clean up. The batteries die in this grinder like crazy, so I brought 2. I have another 2 in the truck. Hopefully that'll get me through the bus. The screws don't take very long. It's the big giant bolts. So I'm going to do all the screws first and then I'll come back to the bolts. And maybe I will cut the bolts or get Glenn to cut the bolts. Let's see how this goes. Also, I keep mentioning that I want to paint this day, but I can't paint this day. I could not paint this day because I hadn't cleaned the floor. So I have since gone and bought some Super Clean, and I will definitely be cleaning the floor before I even think of painting. And as of today, when I'm doing this voiceover, I still haven't even vacuumed up the crap. I did finish wire wheeling, but I haven't finished vacuuming and I have not cleaned the floor. So clean the floor first, then paint. All right, it is 3:46. All of the screws are ground down, whatever. It's time to start wire wheeling some of this rust. I'm gonna try to do the whole floor, and then I need to shop back really well. I've already swept, might need to sweep again, but definitely I think the vacuum would be the best choice. So here we go. I did not get it on film because Glenn did it so fucking fast, but he came in and ripped up that piece of floor after he got the heater out, like with his bare hands. He didn't even use a crowbar. He literally just picked it up with his bare hands, ripped it out, and said g'day. This is really the point where I kind of stopped for the day because Glenn needed the grinder, and instead of flipping back and forth from a cutting wheel to a grinding wheel, he just used both. And I'm always so scared that I'm going to accidentally look at the welding, and you're not supposed to do that. So I just kind of cleaned up and kind of stopped for the day while he did that, while he got that done. It's a beautiful weld job. It looks great. It looks much, much better than the like screwed down piece of metal, and I know that it will last longer and be stronger and just overall be better for the floor of our bus. All right, y'all, it is now 5:23. I expect us to be here for another half hour or so. I am dead on my feet. I am exhausted. We got a lot done today. Glenn is just in there welding, but I am going to show you what we got done. It's probably going to be another like one day, one episode, one day in one episode. That's what I meant to say. One day, because that is all we have. I have a baby shower to get to tomorrow. So Saturday was our day. Today was the day. We spent the whole day down here. But yeah, we got a lot done. So the rest of the floor is up. All of the screws are successfully floor level. The bolts are pretty much floor level. They were really hard to grind down. They took a really, really long time. And Glenn has taken up that piece of floor where we thought the spring had come through, and he's putting in a new piece of metal right now, so that will be done. I got 3 panels, what's the word I'm looking for, wire wheeled off. Like I got the rust and the like primer that they had down there that we're gonna add new stuff. So I got 3 panels done. I don't know how many total panels we have. Maybe I'll show you when I go back in, but I'm just waiting for Glenn to be done his welding, and then I'll give you like a little end of day update. But yeah, spent the full day, got quite a bit done. Did not get painting, but honestly, I don't think it's hot enough yet, so we'll have to see. Oh, and I got a little bit of the reflective tape off, so I will show you that right now. All of that until right there. Not skinny enough to fit in that space. And then I'm about that tall. Didn't get any of that. And then we have to go outside. So I got this side. It's just that little piece that's like in the doorway. Can't get that. I got until about right there. And then same thing here till about there. I got this bottom part all the way across the bottom. I got this one. And then same thing on this side. And then here. So it's kind of windy right here. My seat is currently out of the bus. I am currently sitting in it. You're gonna hear lots and lots of road noise. I feel so much better today. I feel like I was able to accomplish some things by myself. I feel like I kind of know what I'm doing. I'm much better with the drill. I don't feel so down on myself. I feel like I actually could do some of it. So that was really, really nice. And I'm hoping next weekend we'll paint. I got 2 out of 3 of my missions done. I guess 1.5, halfway, 50%. That's pretty good. And Glenn got all of his. I think he got the heater out, he got the bottom of the bus washed, and he's getting the floor panel in. So he got 3 of 3, and I got 1.5. To be fair, he needed the grinder. So I just started taking reflective decals off. I got half of that done too. So does that bump me up to 2 out of 3? Or does that bump me up to 2 out of 4? Still 50%. Anyways, I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. I'm hoping that I remember to pan around the bus for our final day, and that you're not actually looking at my face, you're looking at the bus on the end of our day. But if not, I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you'll subscribe, like, comment, all of those things that YouTubers ask you to do that I don't like asking you to do. But I would love to have any sort of conversation down below. I love meeting new people that have buses. I'm big on Instagram. I would love to follow you over there. Let me know. Let me know what you guys are up to. And I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.